Balitang National. Good morning, Pilipinas, and welcome to another edition of Balitang National. For this video, allow me to use English and Tagalog as our medium of instruction. Sa tagpong ito, we are going to simplify the result of this given rational expressions. Meron tayong dalawang rational expression, and the operation separating them is a division. So we have here x squared minus y squared all over xy minus 2y squared for our first rational expression. And if it's under division as given, this is what we call as a dividend. And for our divisor, we have x squared minus 2xy plus y squared all over 2x squared minus 4xy. Just like division of fractions, we are going to use a specific method to transform or convert the operation into multiplication para mas madali nating makancel kung anong kailangang i-cancel ng mga expressions. Ang method na ito ay keep change flip method, which tells us to keep the dividend, to change the operation of division to multiplication, and flip or reciprocate our divisor. So before we are going to factor, gagawin natin yung keep change flip method dito. In short, yung mangyayari natin sa ating dividend is still as it is. You have x squared minus y squared over your xy, the same divisor, denominator, minus 2y squared. By the way, you cannot do this one here because the y squared in our numerator and the y squared in our denominator are parts of terms that are separated with other terms in terms of addition, or better yet, here, subtraction. So we can only use the cancellation law po mamaya pag we could represent all of these expressions in terms of their factors. So we have kept the first rational expression, or our dividend. Now, instead of division, let's change this to multiplication. That's the change process. And then we flip the divisor, or we give its reciprocal. So instead, this would be our numerator, 2x squared minus 4xy, all over your original numerator, x squared minus 2xy plus y squared. Now that we have established another operation from our given rational expression, mag-factor na po tayo sa ating mga terms or expressions so that we could see factors na pwede natin i-cancel. Our numerator on our first rational expression is a difference of two squares. You have two perfect square expressions separated by the subtraction. So yung ating factors dito are given to be binomial expressions of the same first term, same second term, but only differ on the operation separating those terms. We have this, square root of x squared, x. Yun din po ang ating ilalagay dito. Square root of y squared is y. Yun din po dito. So the factor of the numerator of our first rational expression ay binomial expressions na x plus y at x minus y all over our denominator. Now, our denominator do not fit the category of difference of two squares kasi nga, yung ating first term or yung unang term ng ating denominator is not a perfect square expression. However, we can factor here y kasi may y dito, may y din sa kabila. That's our greatest common factor. When we took out y, yung matitira kay xy is simply x, and yung matitira kay minus 2y squared is minus 2, and may isang y pa. Kasi yung y squared means there are two y's multiplied with each other. Now, do not make mistake like this. Baka yung iba sa atin, i-cancel ito. Kasi, di naman sila magkatulad. So, we cannot do that. So, we cannot cancel out anything yet. But we can do it by further moving on our next rational expression. So, 2x squared minus 4xy, yung ating numerator, may mga dalawang common factor dito. Sa ating numerical coefficient, yung common factor is 2. Okay? At saka yung ating literal coefficient, may x squared dito, may x doon. So, may x tayo yung i-factor dito. So, yung matitira sa 2x squared is only x. And sa minus 4, will be minus 2 and then may y tayo. Now you could see that this expression or binomial is similar to this. So you might want to cancel this out here later, but we just need to continue factoring the remaining expression. Yung natitirang expression, yung denominator ng pangalawang rational expression, is a trinomial expression. And dito, it's a perfect square trinomial. Paano natin malalaman kung yung ating ibinigay na expression ay perfect square trinomial? Ito yun, di ba? This is our denominator here, which is our original numerator of our divisor. We would know this is a perfect square trinomial if the middle term, which is minus 2xy, is the result when we multiply twice the square root of the first term, x, and the square root of our last term, which square root of x squared pala, and square root of y squared. This is equal to 2, and then you have x, and then you have your y. Now, you might say that hindi naman sila equal kasi nga dito minus 2xy at saka dito positive 2xy. Take note that you could also have here a numerical coefficient of 1, and if we're going to take the square root of 1, it's plus minus. So we have plus minus here. So 1 of which is minus 2xy. This means it's a perfect square trinomial. Ano pong gamit nyon? Pag may perfect square trinomial tayo, ibig sabihin doon, itong expression na ito ay pwede natin gawin square of a binomial. Square of a binomial is where you're going to take the square root of the first term, x, square root of the last term, y, and you use the sign of the middle term, minus. This would mean x squared minus 2xy plus y squared is a binomial squared. It's a binomial x minus y, then it's being squared. If you're not convinced with this, you can always try to check that. We can use here the idea that we have the square of x minus y telling us that we can write them in two separate binomial terms or expressions using x minus y and x minus y here as well. So our x squared minus 2xy plus y squared has factors x minus y and another x minus y. Pagkatapos ng lahat ng factor na ginawa natin, let's now try to use the cancellation law. Don't forget na kapag magmumultiply tayo ng dalawang fractions or rational expressions, all the terms of our numerator are combined as one, and yun din po ang mangyayari sa ating mga denominators. Kaya nga, pwede natin i-cancel ito, at saka ito, kahit na yung dalawang terms na ito are not part of the same rational expression. We can also cancel this in one of the binomials here at the bottom, and since there are no other terms that are similar, our final result is the product of x plus y and 2x for our numerator, and our denominator will have y times x minus y. This is now the simplified form of the process given as our two rational expressions under division, that we're able to use the keep change flip method to use multiplication instead of division. If you would like to multiply them, your other result will be in this form: 2x squared plus 2xy as part of the distributive property, and at the bottom you will have x y minus y squared. This is the final form of our answer. Lester Lou Sigumpan, nagbabalita for Balitang Rational. Huwag kalimutang mag-subscribe, i-like at i-share ang video ito. Maraming salamat!